5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome, what for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no challenge for champions and chain no fear. Yeah, the champions here.
Welcome back, everybody, to another totally awesome edition of Paleocrat Diaries. I am your host, the one and only, the OG, the Paleocrat, and it is really good to be back. It feels good. It feels good. My hair is down. I got my Skogies, my superpowers. Right? I feel like He-Man with the power of Grayskull, right? Every time I put these buggers on, it's like, I have the power. And I get super excited about everything. And I'm especially excited because today we have a really, really amazing show for you. There's a whole bunch of awesome topics. It's a little bit mind-numbing, but those are the times that we live in. And so if I kind of flip out and go off the chain, you're going to have to forgive me. It's just the way of the world at the time. It's unfortunate, but we have a whole bunch of these amazing topics. I want to thank everybody right now who is tuning in on just a number of different channels. We have Periscope now. So there are people who are checking us out on Periscope. There are people checking us out on Facebook at my Facebook page. You can find that by visiting Paleocrat, P-A-L-E-O-C-R-A-T. Almost forgot it. In fact, I'll just put this banner up, and that way it's a reminder. It's like, I came up with the word, man. I made this thing. I'm a wordsmith, right? Went into the laboratory and thought it out. Went up on a mountain and thought about what I wanted to call this, and came up with it. But you can find that, Paleocrat, on Facebook. Make sure to like that page as well. You can find us on my YouTube channel. That's at Paleocrat, youtube.com/Paleocrat. So that's awesome. But I'm also on a whole bunch of other channels, and I have to thank all of them. Right? I'm not going to go name by name by name, but I want to thank each and every one of you, because it's right now. It was awesome. I went on YouTube, and I was seeing in a suggested videos or whatever on the side that there were videos the exact same as what I was watching, but on other channels that they want to stream, and they're collaborating. And I really want to work with a lot of these people because a lot of them have really great stuff. Of course, a huge thanks to my manager, Jonathan. He's the man. Make sure that all the thumbnails are up and everything. This is a really good thumbnail. Right? Liars, lunatics, and leftists. Oh my! Right? They are not okay. And we're going to talk today about why it's not okay, and why is it that we've gotten to this place. And I have to say one more thing. I want to talk. Oh boy, how am I going to say this? There's a specific topic that I'm just chomping at the bit to talk about. Right? I've been grinding my teeth, losing sleep, because all I can think about is talking about this. It was an event that took place in Kalamazoo. I was part of it. Okay, I was part of it. I'm on a video that went pretty big. In fact, I was wearing the shirt, right? Wearing the glasses. You can see me clear as day. And the coverage of this event was the craziest thing in the universe. I would say this: I have never, in my entire life, been involved with something or an event or a group that was maligned as badly as this. And it's super dupe fake. Right? In fact, every single one of these journalists, it might even just be a video. I might not do it as a live show. I might do it as a live show. If I do, it's going to be it's going to be a good one. You're not going to want to miss it, because I'm putting them on task. Each one of these people, they're goons, man. They're goons. And I got to call out MLive. I will say this. I'll say MLive posted a video where they were talking, Kalamazoo was talking about this event. In fact, it was the police talking about this event. And as they're talking about it, at the end, they leave a time for journalists to ask questions. I got to say this, okay? And I'll call them out by name. I'm going to tag each one of these journalists by name on Facebook, on Twitter, all over the place. And I encourage everybody, when I do, share it like crazy, like wildfire, because it's on like Donkey Kong. These people, they should try to find another day job. They may be the worst journalists. They're not even journalists. They're activists. They're activists reporting on something, and you can hear it in their voice. They're so upset that it's not working out the way they were hoping. Oh, you can hear it in my voice, man. I am like a greyhound at the gate, right? I just blam. I want to get out and just talk about it, and I will. But today we've got a whole bunch of really great stories to talk to you about. Some of them are stories that I wanted to mention on the last program. And I wasn't able to do it. But before we do, let me just put this up. I normally wait till the end to do this. I'm gonna put it up right now. Okay, I'll put it up at the end as well. But in case you're watching in the beginning and you want to know how to reach out to me, I'm especially putting this out there so in the future that these journalists can go back, because they're gonna want to talk to me. Okay, because woo, roadkill, man. So here's the deal. Right there, paleocratdiaries.com. If you're not a subscriber already, please become one. Right, I just started doing this. What, episode 5? Right, so I'm still new at doing this, getting in the groove of everything. Okay, putting it all together, figuring out my schedule. I even changed, and you don't see it right now, but I changed the bottom third finally to indicate that I'm going to be on Saturday nights too, because originally it was just Mondays and Thursdays from 10 to, in fact, it was, I think, just 10 o'clock, and now they've extended it so I can be on from 10 to midnight. I'm going to push it as far as I can too. But Paleocrat Diaries, because this is so new, that's going to be the mega hub, right? That is the castle of Grayskull for everything Paleocrat, all the freaks and geeks, okay? You have to go, because we're going to ramp that bugger up. It's going to have all the stuff, my appearances on Meaning of Catholic, all my interviews where I'm on other shows or being interviewed by different writers and journalists, all of the different shows that we do here, okay, every single one. And on top of that, blogs and updates, including, and I may as well just say this now, if my wife comes racing down and says, I'm in labor, I'm going to say, peace, I'm out. So you got to just, pray for me, for realsies, not a joke. Pray for me and pray for my wife. Okay, we are in week 39. We're almost at 40 weeks flat. And she's been having contractions today. In fact, she's had them enough that she's worried she may begin losing sleep. And if she does, she wants to go ahead and do some laundry and stuff and, stay active and moving around and everything else. But make sure you pray specifically when you pray about it. Pray not only for a successful delivery, our baby's going to be totally amazing, obviously. His very manly name. I don't think that I announced the name here, but I'm going to. I may have already. If I didn't, I don't want to do it right now. But we believe that he's just super macho already, and he's going to come out with a huge battle axe and a beard and everything else. Maybe even the Raleigh Fingers mustache. He may come out with that, but he's ready to come out. He wants to see everybody. He knows everybody's pumped to see him. Okay, so he's excited. My wife is excited, a little bit nervous, but the little guy was a little bit breached earlier today. In fact, they weren't sure if they were going to have to, do any kind of induction with my wife. And I'm very grateful that they did not. They said, well, go home, do some exercises and see if you can get the head back down. And she did. And so it feels as though the head is down. Okay. You know what I mean? And so just keep us in prayer. Keep us in prayer that the head is down, that he comes out in good time, super duper healthy, right? And that he doesn't have a beard or a battle axe. Or if he does, then it's like, a little toy one. So anyway, keep us in prayer. We thank you for that. But make sure, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. And of course, make sure to check out the work over at Paleo Cheese Podcast, as well as Meaning of Catholic. And I'm going to start putting in plugs, not today, but I'll put in plugs in the future. I might even create little commercials, right, for the network that I'm part of and all the different shows that come together to do this. Because even though we're not, we don't all know each other, nothing like that. There's no contractual thing like that, but we all are working together in a way that we realize that we benefit each other. And so we're trying to do our absolute best, our darndest, to bring good content. So you're definitely going to want to check all that out. All right. So back to business. We are going to talk about some of these topics. I wanted to begin tonight. Okay, let's transition over here. I wanted to begin tonight. This is news that we've talked about before. News that's been going on for a while, right? Netflix is. It's one of these things. I don't personally have a Netflix. If I've ever watched it, and I rarely ever do, I'm connected with family, right? So there's family. You're allowed to have up to a certain number of accounts, and so I'm one of those. But the more and more that this kind of thing happens, I'm like, I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to use them at no cost to myself, right? I'm like, I don't want to give you any tiny, itsy smidgen of affirmation because they're freaking perverts. They're sickos, man. Okay, look at this. Netflix releases Cuties movie about child dancers, and it's worse than you could imagine. Oh, no. It's not worse than I could have imagined. In fact, I imagined it would be real bad. I saw the preview in the beginning. I saw the preview. I saw it when they came out and said, when everybody called them out on this. Okay, I mean, look at this. And I'm sorry, if you got kids, in fact, I strongly discourage you. In fact, feel free to be the parents that put your hands over eyeballs because this junk is real. You see that, America? You're burning in hell right now. You're burning in hell. The people who made this, and not just America, it was, France? This is ridiculous. Philip Nieto over at dailycaller.com. Cuties, the award-winning French film, sickos, featuring young teen dancers, was released Wednesday on Netflix, and it's receiving another round of backlash. That's an understatement. It's an understatement for its depiction of children in sexual situations. I don't even know how this is legal. Then again, Nickelodeon's been doing this for a long time. I mean, let's be real about it. Television in general, Hollywood's freaking sick. It's sick. Cut them off. And you know what's crazy? These same pedos and perverts, the same people, are lecturing us about what's good and bad in society. They can't just shut their yappers. Whew. The film, which is directed by French movie maker Maimouna, is it Decore? Probably hacked it to pieces. Centers around Amy, 11. Let's go back. 11. Do you have an 11-year-old? I do. I have an 11-year-old boy. I've had an 11-year-old girl. My daughter died when she was 12 years old. She had cancer when she was 11. People could go back, check out youtube.com/Paleocrat. I have a playlist called #team, the basketball team, Tiny Dancer. That was the name of her cancer team, right? Like the support network she had. We have videos on there of her. Is that an age? Does that look like an age where they should be doing this? Judge for yourself. Look at your 11-year-old girl. And this is tame, by the way. I won't even show the video. It's straight up crotch shots, man. Straight up crotch shots. Bent over. Twerking. Perverted culture. People want to ask me what's the problem and why are there so many disparities in the world between different groups? Culture, worldview, and life view matters. Actions matter. If you're a culture of twerking, this crap, glorifying it, Amy, 11 years old, is joining young underage female dancers in a group named the Cuties. The Cuties! That sounds so quaint. So innocent. Oh, they just cute. All those crotch shots. Sick, man. Sickos. And the parents, man. The parents. Pray for them. Pray for them. If they knew, they had to know. They had to know. Going to hell. There's no way. Yeah, no. No. You are not a parent allowing your kid to get involved in this kind of thing and your soul's in a good place with the Lord. No way. No way. No. The cuties at school, okay, rapidly grows aware of her burgeoning femininity, upsetting her mother and her values in the process. By the way, they're Muslim. I wonder here, hold on a second. Let me see if I can play that. I don't even know if you can hear this. Let me see. Oh, look at that. Here's this one. Here's that shot. Look at these girls. Look at them. And later on, I mean, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Yeah, look, I didn't even have to do that. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done. What did I fall into? A cesspool of sin and perversion. Deviant sickos. Who let these people loose, man? Lock them up. They're coming for your kids. Lock them up. Footage of the movie began to go viral Wednesday night, with many viewers accusing Netflix of promoting pedophilia. Yes! Straight up pedos and sexualizing children. Yeah, that's like, you start with pedophilia. Yeah, obviously, man. Sexualizing them. Daily Wire's Matt Walsh. If you don't know about him, you ought to. Check him out on Twitter. The guy's brave. He's a good guy. I'd love to interview him someday. Matt, if you're listening, I hope you love the show. Netflix released the Cuties movie about twerking 11-year-olds. The Daily Wire's Matt Walsh wrote on Twitter. Fuller clips of the film are now circulating. It's way worse than I thought. And I thought it would be extremely bad. Very explicit sexual dancing. Girls grabbing themselves. Crotch shots, etc. These are children. That's a fast track to whoredom. It is. It's fast track to whoredom. ACLU loves their sex workers. They'll fight for their right to party. Yeah, Matt Walsh blog. Make sure to go check that out. Okay. Jason Howerton wrote, I need y'all to understand that not only did a group of adults make this movie, it won effing awards. We need to have like a little blur on there. Jonathan, get on that right now. People say naughty words. Netflix and their executives are watching this movie. Yes, and I love this. I love, because it's so easy to think of like the director that's like, oh yeah, I want a little bit more movement in the crotch area. Amy. Prepubescent little girl. A little bit more twerking, the kind of the small of the back where your mom has that tribal tattoo. Yeah, looks good. Netflix and their executives are watched this movie, including this scene, and said, yeah, looks good. Let's option it. It's exactly what happened, man. Hollywood is a sick, sick place. Pray for them. Pray for their salvation. Ryan Gradusky, I like him. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name properly, but I like him on Twitter. It's a good guy to follow. Right here, Netflix is comfortable with this. Plenty of people will defend it. This is where our culture is. Yes, right now. Right now, know your enemy. Remember, know your enemy. And no, it ain't flesh and blood. It's more than this. I mean, look, this little girl. These little girls are going to live with this for the rest of their lives. And what makes it worse? Depending on how we react, how are we talking to them? Are we even reaching out to them? Are we praying for them? Because I've attacked the daylights out of this movie. I've gone after the parents. I've gone after the director. I've gone after the people who decided on this at Netflix. But not them. We need to pray for them. We need to, in fact, people should reach out to them. Netflix apologized, and this is a little bit older news. Netflix apologized for the artwork used to promote the film. The artwork. They assured critics that it was not representative of the movie itself. Liars! Liars, liars, pants on fire. It's basically a screenshot from the film. You know, they have a single shot, right? A single shot that they take this picture and they're looking super sexy, legs spread, squatted down. And they say, that's not representative of the film. Liars, man. Liars. Brazen, satanic, pedo liars. They want your kids. They want your kids, son. They want them. Salivating demons. Want them. Venomous vipers. Want them to sink their teeth deep into them. Protect them from these people. Protect them. Dedicate them to the Lord every single day. Raise them in the righteousness of God every single day. This is the trough. This is the trough that the world offers. But it's basically like, it's like Halloween candy with glass in it. This is what they said. We're deeply sorry for the inappropriate artwork that we used for the cuties. A Netflix spokeswoman. It was not okay. No, it wasn't. Did you see the movie? You dumb idiot. Did you see the movie? Nor was it representative of this French film, which premiered at Sundance. Who cares? Who cares? Oh, okay. Okay, my morality is, it's all good now. That's my moral standard. Well, it looks pretty, it looks like pedophilia going on there. It did premiere at Sundance. Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. Idiot. Idiot. Spokesperson. The film was produced by Zangro, a French producer who previously had a hand in a short film titled Mamans, also directed by the same guy. But this, let's see what this is good. Okay, with his company, right? The short film centers around a child raised in a polygamous household. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Really? I would have never figured. Another sick scenario to put little kids in. And listen to this. Ain't this just cute? Ain't this cute? Listen. In an interview with Variety, Zangro applauded Decor's work, with the young teenage cast saying, quote, "It's amazing to watch. She works at the same level as the kids. She has a deep and intimate relationship with them. She acts with them. She cries, and they cry. There's a magical link and a deep sense of trust." Now, it sounds like a pedophile. Sounds like the profile of a pedophile. They gain your trust, man. They're like on the level with them, you know? No. She cries with them. They cry. It's a magical link. A magical link. That's another way of describing it, I guess. I mean, satanic's all sorts of supernatural. That's some dark magic. That's some black magic. So that's going on. That was in the news. Oh, here's another little bit of news. Nick Sandman. Remember that guy? Do they call him Sandman? Is that how you pronounce his last name? Nick Sandman? I mean, it is two N's, right? That would be kind of dope a little bit. Wouldn't it be a little bit? According to Fox News. Oh, look at this. An opinion piece by old Nick himself. This guy's rocking, man. He did a speech over at the RNC. Real good. Real good stuff. I'm a pro-life conservative Republican college student who won't let cancel culture silence me. Covington Catholic High School grad is now in college. Look at this. Beginning the college year during the coronavirus pandemic is difficult enough for millions of students. But the beginning of my freshman year at Transylvania University. Sandman is over at Transylvania University. I love you, bro. I love you, man. I need you on the show, Nick. I want to talk to you. You're the man. I'll back you up too, by the way. Anything. Any of this crap, dude, you let me know. I know what it's like, by the way, to be an activist on campus. I had teachers, professors, who huge skirmishes that involved the administration. We had to sit down. What did he have? Did he have the NAACP? One of them brought in the NAACP with them and pressured me. I'm like, bro, I'm a student. Yeah, I owned him. Yeah. Same thing with the former head of the Women's Resource Center, a man-loathing lesbian. It's true. You know, I'm not trying to dog her too well. No, I'm trying to dog her. She's pretty bad. But a man-loathing lesbian, activist woman that's leading the Women's Resource Center, which, by the way, didn't have any material at all on conservative perspectives on anything. In other words, every woman is just like her. Cuckoo. She was out there with megaphones, going to fraternities, yelling at them because of statistical probability according to their studies of rape. That's harassment. She wrote about me later. There were Chronicles of Higher Education. I don't know if it's Chronicles of Higher Education or where that was. She ended up writing about me. Saying, that I'm a danger and that I'm like representative of all of these conservative students and activists on campus these days causing trouble. A little bit, maybe. I was recognized for it. Leadership Institute flew me down to Washington, D.C., covered the whole bill. So Transylvania University in Kentucky. I need to know more about this Transylvania University, man. It's being made even more difficult by an unwarranted attack against me, Nick Sandman, by the cancel culture due to my conservative views. That's normal, bro. You're gonna, you know what it is now. It's just another extension. It's an appendage of the liberal order. The establishment, bro. Posture yourself good every day. Pray hard. Pray a rosary, bro. I recently began my freshman year at Transylvania University in Kentucky, but unbelievably, an official of the American Civil Liberties Union, oh, this is great. Okay. A liberal group that claims to be dedicated to defending free speech. They used to. They used to, and you know what? They were. But then Trump. And I think even for a while they were like, still trying to play that card that, well, we're trying to remain true to our traditional values, but there were so many people, so many of these Plato rolling, bubble blowing liberals, right? Leftists, to make my liberal Catholic friends happy. Leftists, right? Out there who were like refusing, like we're no longer going to support you. You don't understand where we're at now. Blah. They followed the money. Unprincipled. They lost principle. A liberal group that claims to be dedicated to defending free speech criticized the university last week for admitting me, saying my admission was a stain on the school. In a Facebook post, Kentucky ACLU staffer Samuel Crankshaw wrote of me as, this kid clearly is a provocateur in training with no intention of learning. What? He exists only to troll and intimidate and play the victim. You're a lunatic, bro. You are a crazy person, Samuel Crankshaw. I could just imagine this guy at night sitting in the corner of his room, biting his nails down to the bone, blood dripping down his face, afraid that Nick might be out the window with his iPhone ready to troll him. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you, man? Samuel Crankshaw. Okay, yeah, I see. What a goon. ACLU, you got to fire him. Stat. This guy's got to go. He obviously needs, look, if you don't want to let him go, put him on leave, send him to rehab. Send him to rehab. These people are traumatized. And in all seriousness, let me say this. These people really are actually traumatized. I was traumatized when my daughter came out of surgery. When brain surgery, 16 hours active, right? She was in there for like 20 altogether, 20 hours or a little bit more under anesthesia and stuff before they finally let her out and everything. They had to get the tumor out of her brain. She came out, head shaved, face swollen, tubes out of her mouth. You want to talk about a traumatized papa? And I was jacked. I was out to lunch. We go into the ICU. And the doctor looks at me that fast. She said, you got to go home. She could see it on my face. She said, we need to actually call somebody to drive you home. You're not okay. You need to eat. You need to sleep. And you need to have somebody. You don't drive yourself. Don't do it. And she was right. And so I can make fun of Samuel Crankshaw, and his loonbird crazy pants ways of talking about youngsters. But the truth is, he's obviously traumatized by the conquest of the deplorables in 2016. I bet you he cried. Bet you $1 bazillion he cried. He needs help. Because he's probably just gone on thinking he's perfectly fine. That it's just, not recognizing the impact of trauma. Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. And it's one of these things where, like, you can make fun of somebody for it for good reason. I mean, it's laughable in a way. But at the same time, it's actually an actual problem. And if these people don't recognize and admit that they're traumatized out of their minds, and it's made them complete maniacs, in many cases, violent, harassing maniacs, complete personality shifts on everything. It's like Mandela effect of their life. You see somebody and next thing you know, they're like a totally different guy. What is it, like Tim Tebow, right? Have you seen that picture of him? His beard's like down to there. Oh, man. Nick says, I've never met Crankshaw. He knows nothing about me besides news stories regarding my trip to Washington and the lawsuit. Yet still he tries to cancel me and demand that I be denied admission to college. Why? Because he seems outraged that my conservative values don't align with his left-wing ideology. That's an obvious, yeah. But listen to this question. So should only liberals and those on the far left be able to get a college education? I'm serious. I don't even want to skip over that. Just think about it. To people like Crankshaw? Yeah. Should there be an ideological purity test required that bars conservatives and Republicans? There already is. Many schools will go and they'll see your, and we'll talk about that in a second, because it's not just Crankshaw. It's some loonbird tranny teacher over at Transylvania. It's a pretty frightening idea and sounds like something you would expect in a totalitarian state. Yeah, because they are totalitarian, and we're going to talk about this. They are totalitarian. It's fake. It's like China or Korea using the concept that it's democratic. Baloney, man. Baloney. Authoritarian, crazy people. Not a democracy where we are all guaranteed free speech. The ACLU claims to support it, but for Crankshaw, it only applies if you share his ideas. Ain't that a thing? We support free speech. You just, not if you're saying anything that's we don't like. Then you don't believe in free speech, man. I'll skip over what Turley wrote. Crankshaw will be sad to learn that against his wishes, I feel that I'm treated fairly as a student. I'm glad to hear this, by the way. Bravo to Transylvania. I can't get over this. And I'm looking forward to learning and forming my own opinions over my next 4 years at Transylvania University. I love this part. This guy's great, man. He'll do cool things in life if he sticks with it. If he keeps loving the Lord, he keeps praying those Hail Marys for real. He'll go places. I don't advocate barring liberals or even socialists from going to college. It is wrong for any of us to demean people who hold different beliefs. Now more than ever, we need more speech, not less. We need to hear new ideas and to learn from others. That is exactly what I and so many students returning to school want to do. I invite Democrats to join us. Yeah. Sadly, they won't. We'll talk about why. But here's the thing. It was more than just Crankshaw. Cranky Crankshaw. There's an actual professor over there that said he'll watch Nick. Said, I'm going to... Avery Tompkins, assistant professor of sociology and diversity scholar. Oh, man. Diversity scholar. Oh, yeah, right. I love diversity as long as it's the kind that I like. Blah. That he would watch Sandman for his behavioral issues. If he were to cause problems by being disruptive or trolling or engaging in unethical behavior of any kind, I would immediately document it. Well, and in parentheticals, hey, give it up, just like I would for any student doing the same thing. Trolling? Really? Being disruptive? I thought that this person... Here, man, we got to see this here. Hold on. We got to see. I'm going to look this up. What's this person's name again? Avery Tompkins. Here we go. We're going to look up Avery Tompkins. Okay. We're going to see, because I could have swore. Transylvania. Whoa! And looky, look. Look at that. She wants to document people being disruptive? And wait a second, they said he. I'm so sorry, I don't play that game, Daily Caller. Is that a he? Is there an F to M? There's a difference. That crap drives me nuts, by the way. Who wrote this? Mary Rose Corkery. What's up with these names? Sandman, Corkery, Crankshaw. And that person that we just saw. Blam. Yeah, this person here. That person is very disruptive. So when they say that he's being disruptive or engaging in unethical behavior, this person's life is it would be so controversial. A diversity scholar, super disruptive. The whole idea of that is to disrupt the status quo, to disrupt the patriarchy. She dances on graves, on the democracy of the dead. Takes a leak on it. If he's doing anything unethical, I'm gonna jot it down in my little book of naughties. What a weirdo. I'm interested in knowing why he chose Transy, whose mission is the antithesis of what he believes and promotes. Is it really? Is it? But listen, this is the key. Tompkins also said, although Tompkins disagreed and criticized Sandman, academically qualified students can't be refused based on different political and personal views. Now, that's true for there, but there's been cases where schools have gone and said, well, we're seeing here that you shared some Trump, please. We see here that you shared a little Pepe Clown World tweet. Naughty, naughty. Maybe you should go to a different school. She apologized. Students, faculty, and staff are able to engage in civil discourse with those whose views may be different from their own, and to learn about those views in an academic setting. I value and support these conversations. That's probably legal. That's a legal statement. Here we go. Here we go again. There's a point to all this, by the way. I'm not just sitting here saying, look, take this, America. Because we already are. We already are. University of Michigan, Dearborn. That's close to home. Promotes 2 student events based on skin color. Later expresses regret. I bet you money they don't. We'll see. We'll see by the end. But, I want to hear you. Tell me in the comment section, do you think that these people actually regret it? Or do you think they just regret the fact that they were caught? Dummies, man. And their answers. Covering their tracks. University of Michigan Dearborn said it regretted the terms used to describe 2 race-themed virtual student events on Tuesday and hadn't intended to be exclusionary. So remember this, they didn't intend to be exclusionary. Okay, so there's their intent, and at the end we'll see their excuse, and I want your take on this. Tell me if you believe them. The university's Center for Social Justice. Oh, look at that. What is it with all this? The Center for Social Justice. Wah! Diversity scholars. Oh, no, not just social justice. I'm so sorry. The Center for Social Justice and Inclusion hosted 2 online cafes. Okay, 2 of them. I wonder why. Let's see. That's maybe one's like a party for, an 80s theme, right? And the other one is a dystopian one, like 2020. One for, here it is. Here's the answer. One for students that do not identify as persons of color. Okay, that's in quotes. That's in quotes too. Students that do not identify as persons of color. For one, this is already messed up in the fact that that's just long form for saying white. This is for white students. Or if you are white, that you are in the Avatar Dungeon and Dragon roleplay thing where you say you identify as something other than what you are biologically. Like that weird roleplay RPG crowd. No offense to the RPG crowd. I don't want you guys coming after me. Okay. But that's what this is. I actually have a theory about this. Talk about it on another show. So one of those is for the white students. Okay, got that. Yep. And the other is for, quote, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. Well, obviously. And by the way, how is it that Black isn't people of color? Or Indigenous? And why do people still say people of color, but colored people's bad? That's an honest question. I'm serious. I want to know. I use Black. I even capitalize it. I capitalize white, too. AP can shove it. Associated Press, their logic is so partisan, it's a joke. The BIPOC. Look at that. Look at that acronym. Everything but white. Okay, gotcha. Black. Why don't EBW. EBW. Everybody but whites. The Black, Indigenous, and People of Color Cafe. What's the name of the cafe? It's a segregated cafe. Okay. They're like Jim Crow in it. Is a space for student. Yeah, mistake. Students from marginalized racial, ethnic, cultural communities to gather and relate with one another. No whites allowed. Even if you're a hillbilly. And by the way, you want to talk about a marginalized group. In fact, they're the one group, they're the last remaining group that is not even taboo, not even close to taboo to make fun of them. You can mock them. You could do anything you want to hillbilly rednecks. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can do it on TV. You could dress up as one. Who's going to defend that? Who's going to defend it? How dare you? Sitting there doing that voice of them there people. Who's going to defend them? Those are my kin, man. By the way. Tennessee Hill Country. Moonshine runners. The other event was described as, quote, a space for students that do not identify as persons of color. Yeah, we already read that. To gather and discuss their experiences on campus. Oh, there it is. The non-person of color cafe. In other words, white people. This is a safe space for white people. This is a safe space for everybody else. Yeah, exactly. Jim Crow. Do they not see how they're racist? It's like my buddy. I had a guy. The comment section under my last video. You should go check it out over at youtube.com/Paleocrat. My most recent video, there's a bunch of comments. Even stuff about why I don't believe there's more than 2 sexes. Right? Not just genders, but sexes. Because there's a video that's all basically voodoo. It's voodoo, voodoo, mush. It's all kind of jumbled in, and it's covered with sciencey words and a nerdy looking guy that's doing the video and stuff. Garbage. Garbage. But I talk about that. But this guy asked me in the comment section, a friend of mine, he's like, well, if you don't accept critical race theory, if you don't accept that as, explaining the disparities and all the problems, well, what do you accept? And I'm like, in fact, it shades and degrees of practically any other explanation of it that's not racist. You guys are race realists. You don't even realize that. You're on a horseshoe, man. It's the horseshoe theory, right? Where the extremes that in political theory where they come together, and so people will be like, man, there's actually some similarities between Antifa and Black Lives Matter and the alt-right. They hate each other. But actually read what Richard Spencer, he, by the way, endorsed Biden. Not surprising. The Klan does too. The Klan's always been a democratic thing. Always. But they're close. And so they hate each other. But both of them are operating off of the idea of race realism. Just one group is willing to admit it. Yeah, 2 cafes, the BIPOC cafe. The university said in a statement that the terms used to describe these virtual events and the description themselves were not clear. Really? They're not? Oh, and they don't reflect the university's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like I said, these are legal statements. This is written by a lawyer. Just like the Transylvania person. I'm going to monitor this individual. That doesn't reflect my belief that we should all come together in harmony and peace and love and kumbaya. Liar! Do people believe this? I mean, I'm serious. Like, who's the guy? Who's the PR guy that's like, okay, look, we're in hot water. What you got to say is just say these words and it's magic. People will all believe you. No, they don't. The events were never intended to be exclusive. Really? Are you sure? Because, like, people who don't identify as a person of color in one group and people of color in another group sure kind of sounds exclusive and exclusionary. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine the Jim Crow folks? Yeah, I mean, I know we've got different bathrooms and stuff, but we're not trying to be exclusive. We believe in inclusion. They're allowed in the same movie theater, just not in the same area. They're allowed in the same bus. They just got to sit in the back. Don't they realize? I mean, this is a university, too. This is higher learning. Do they even know how dumb they sound? And how it's really stupid too. Like, if you're super smart and you're trying to figure out a way to make other people like do the magic wand and the sleight of hand and everything, you don't make it so obvious. I mean, everybody could say, well, look, I see the poster here. The name of the group, the name of the setting, the description itself. It's almost like spaghetti. It's like spaghetti, man, from Tim and Eric. Hiding behind the leaves and jumping out. Ooh, I spooked you. And they interview the people and they're like, I saw the guy over there. It's really obvious. It's a little plant and he's kind of crouched down in a corner. I didn't know what he was doing. And listen to this. This guy's garbage. Chancellor Ken Kittenbile told the DCNF it could have been clearer that the entire campus community was invited to participate in either event. And in parentheticals, this is the passive-aggressive nonsense. Even though events were posted on social media that our entire campus community follows. So what? That doesn't even make sense, homie. What, you think you can't put out a public bulletin that says Some girls are invited to this, but not dudes, and put it out there for everybody in case some of the ladies don't follow your gender specific and sex specific page. That's like saying, well, everybody, we're not targeting a female audience with, female napkins because we put it on TV and men watch TV. People are stupid. Do we apologize for this? Yes. Oh, yeah. I see that kind of apology. Oh, come on. Oh, no. Oh. I meant to talk about this last time. And again, just as a reminder, make sure that if you are watching this show, for one, thank you so much for watching this show. Okay? We're halfway through. In about 45 minutes, we're going to go ahead and start taking questions and answers, but put them in right now. And if it gets too late and you're upset because I'm not looking at the screen and I'm not like watching all of the comments and questions, look, I'm trying really hard. I'm trying to actually figure out how to make it so that we can even have callers. Okay, I've done calls forever. I've had calls on radio forever. I started doing radio at 15 years old. I've had crazy calls. Some of them are actually on my YouTube channel. I think I actually have, and it may be publicly available. It might be a public playlist on people who called the show, so you can hear it. Okay, but make sure to go ahead and comment. Make sure to subscribe, Paleocrat, youtube.com/Paleocrat. You got to make sure to do that. Spelled just like it is in paleocratdiaries.com. You can find out all that stuff, by the way, by going to paleocratdiaries.com. Although currently the video and stuff's not up there. But that's where you go. And if you love this show, and I know you do, okay? I know you do. You're sticking around. You're doing good, everybody. Keep it coming. Okay? I'm pumped. I can't wait to read what you got to say. Even the people who don't like me, I'll read it. I'll take you down. We'll wrestle and everything. But make sure to go check it out, because that's where you can support me, right? People have asked why, don't you have a Patreon? I do. I've never done anything with it. I don't know if I want to. I kind of hate Patreon in the same way that I hate Facebook. Me and Zuckerberg, it's bad. It is bad. I don't like that guy. He's an alien. He's a lizard person. He's not even real, man. Don't know what he is. But I don't want, look, if you want to give money and stuff, you can do that on Facebook too. I wouldn't advise it. I'd say go to paleocratdiaries.com. Check it out. You can do donations through Wix. It's a great program for us. It's the rates for that, for like how much they take out and everything, is really good. And so we're really grateful for that, for every single subscriber. And we're putting together different packages. And certain subscribers that reach a threshold once my book is published, however, that may end up happening, whether it's through a major publisher, which is currently being looked at for publication, or if, everything else fails and I say, well, I'm just publishing this myself, you're going to love it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make sure that people who've reached a certain threshold, been around for a long enough period of time, they're going to get a book. And not just a book, they're going to get a book signed. But we're also going to put together, I don't know if it's going to be cafe press or what it's going to be. I don't know. We got to figure this out, right? There's different ones. I saw PewDiePie. He uses a different one. I don't know, man, what is that called? Anyway, there's one that he uses that's a little bit different, okay? And it's, I don't know if I'd want that, because I want it to be more diversified. I want people to be able to get bags that say Paleocrat Diaries, right? Maybe even have a big old face of Thoda Popinski on it. A crisp with a lisp, right? The crisp with a lisp. That Russian bot. Right? It works for us, right? Us. And so, but I want to be able to do that and have mugs. That way people can wake up bright and early and have a Paleocrat Diaries mug with all sorts of cool designs and stuff. So we've got all that in the makings. So you got to just go check it out. And that's got all my information. So anyway, back to this. I mentioned this at the end of the show last time, but it's part of the cuckoo. It's part of the world we're living in. And it's going to be explained later on. Okay, so you got to stick with me. There's a point to all of this. I'm not just being like trying to punish you. Look at this right now. I'm shoving this in your face. Why aren't fat people allowed to be trendy? Fashion is and always has been about thin bodies. Amanda Richards over at InStyle. I wonder, there's got to be a reason for that, right? I mean, if it's always been that way, and in a way it has not always been, right? I mean, you can go back and look at the kind of like Renaissance art and stuff. Those ladies aren't super thin. They ain't looking like this. In fact, I don't even know why they would put this on there. Why? What's up with that? Oh, they put it on there because the mom shorts. I got you. So, let's see, who was the person's name again? Amanda. So Amanda begins by saying, recently, I saw an image of two women walking down the street. Both of them were wearing a slightly different iteration of the same outfit. High-waisted, knee-length shorts with graphic t-shirts tucked in, and a pair of chunky sneakers. The look is trendy, a perfect encapsulation of the pared-down, vintage-inspired aesthetic embraced by Gen Z TikTok influencers, who seem to take style cues from teen movies released 25 years before they were born. That's normal, by the way. That's normal. Which is why people are like French roll in their pants. What did you guys call that, by the way? You know what I mean by French roll? Like, remember when gerbots, do they even make gerbots anymore? Those jeans had pleats like in the jeans for the guys. But they would taper down and you tight roll it. I've heard them called pegging, although, yeah. And French rolling. I don't know what else people have called them, tight roll. But people are doing that. They're going to regret it. They're going to go back and be like, ugh. As long as they don't take that to the next level of either like crisscrossing pants or wearing Zubaz pants like the old weightlifters did from the late 80s and early 90s, or the MC Hammer pants. As long as they avoid that, or the jams, remember those? They were like jorts. They were these long shorts. Lorts? What do you call them? I don't know. They were like really long, like down to the shin. They typically had like tropical stuff on it. Yeah. Everybody regrets that. Okay. It is, as the kids say, a vibe. Do they say that? That sounds really old. How old is Amanda? The women's heads are cropped from the photo. Okay, the photo, yeah. Leaving them unidentifiable. Based on the trendiness of the clothing alone, I'd have mistaken them for a pair of off-duty models. Are you serious? You're lying, aren't you? Is this real? Is this real? Am I getting... Is this a fake, like, news thing or what? Is this a parody thing or what? I mean, I'm not meaning to be rude to these ladies. I'm sure they're nice. It reminds me. It's a little off track, right? But these pictures, I'm sorry. Maybe this is where they were taken. When we went to England, my daughter, when she was still alive, she was nominated as the highlighted ambassador of the year for Make-A-Wish Michigan. So at their annual Wish Ball, which is this huge gala, it's gorgeous. We had rooms in like the presidential suite or whatever over at what was it, man? MGM Grand in Detroit, which is stunning. I mean, the hotel room, just stunning. It was amazing. And we stayed there, and then they flew us out the next morning. We went to London, spent a couple days, took a train, went to Cardiff, Wales, spent a couple days. That's where we went to the Doctor Who museum and everything. And it was great. But while we were in London, right, it was a great time. Food sucks. It's gross. It's gross. What are those things called? A banger. Just even thinking of the food. It's like a hot dog that's kind of crispy on the outside and mushy cat food on the inside. It's like makes my stomach turn. If you want to be a bazillionaire, though, You should go over there and introduce those people to lemonade. And by lemonade, I don't mean Sprite, because that's, if you ask for lemonade, everywhere you go, I asked, do you guys have lemonade? Oh, yeah, we got lemonade. They bring out Sprite. And I finally got to the point, I'm like, no. Like a lemon, like an actual, the fruit. Squeeze. Oh, yeah, we got that. Bringing out Sprite again. I don't think they know what lemonade is. You should bring it over there. But anyway, so we're in London. We're waiting for this tour bus, one of those big, the red buses that go around and you can multiple levels and stuff and put little headphones on. And it gives you a kind of a guided tour. It's really cool that they've got these. And we're looking around and I start feeling really kind of ashamed because I'm realizing that I'm like the fattest guy in London. Okay? I'm looking around and I'm seeing all these people and I'm thinking, bro, I'm like fatter than everybody. And it was shocking to me. I'm looking at myself and looking around and I'm feeling like maybe I should suck in. Doing those Arnold, what do they call, vacuums, where you suck your belly in really, really, really hard. Puffing up my chest like a rooster. Trying to make it not look so bad. But then all of a sudden, and we're looking around, we noticed it. And then one day we're waiting for this bus, right? And it's like the day number 2 or day number 3. And my daughter, she tugs on my sleeve and she goes, Papa, she goes, look, fat people. Because we'd been talking about me, right? I'm not just bashing everybody. And I look over and basically they look like these people here. Okay. Very obese. Would this categorize as hyper obese? I'm sure it would. Okay. So they walk up and I'm kind of like, whoa, dude. Yeah. Okay. And they walk up and I'm like, I think they're coming up to talk to us. And the person came up and says, so is this the bus that goes around for this and this? And my eyes, I was like a deer in headlights. And I said, yes. And I said, are you from America? And she's like, yeah, we're from, I think it was Ohio. It was either Iowa or Ohio. Let's just say Ohio because Ohio sucks. So let's just say that. Iowa kind of sucks too. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of a boring state. It's like Nebraska or Oklahoma. No offense. If you're from Oklahoma, Nebraska, Iowa, you are basically the only redeeming factors of those states. Thank you for watching. Spread the news. Maybe we can redeem them. Okay. A tweet making fun of these women has 100,000 likes, said writer Rain Fisher Kwan, alongside a retweet of the photo. But I swear, if Bella Hadid wore this exact outfit, it would be on a million 80s casual inspo Pinterest boards. Because as always, fashion is judged exclusively by the bodies that wear it. It's a visual medium. Because people have functioning eyeballs. That's kind of like saying that people, that we can recognize smooth, good voices for voiceovers. What's his name? The guy Kennedy. He's got a voice problem. Strains really hard, right? Not dogging him, but saying, look, that's not the guy normally. If he wasn't a popular person and he's just an ordinary guy, you probably wouldn't think to be like, well, let's hire that guy for the voiceover. Or like that guy from South Park that talks out of the side of his throat. Like, you're probably not going to talk to that guy and say, hey, or Stephen Hawking. The idea of that voice, that speak and spell. Remember that thing? That old Ekin out. Kind of like ubble ibble, like double dribble on Nintendo. Back when there were certain letter combinations they couldn't really pronounce. If it was just some random dude and not like a renowned scientist who came up for a voice tryout and was talking on one of the things, right, little computers, highly unlikely that you'd go, that's the voice we're looking for. Because it's a medium where you're hearing. So when you're seeing something, there's kind of similar rules that apply. Kwan's tweet went viral, with over 500,000 people co-signing the idea that what's considered fashionable, trendy clothing for thin people is rarely accepted for fat people. That's true. There's a good reason for this. Thin women in tight clothes are empowered for reclaiming their sexuality. I'm not down with that. I understand it. I'm too Greco-Roman for that. You can have some flowing outfits. I like that. The ladies of myth and legend. Fat women in tight clothing are criticized for being overly sexual. Are they? Or is it just like, what are you wearing that for? Why are you doing that? Like, what is it you're trying to accomplish? I say the same thing of thin ladies doing that. I mean, I don't mean to be rude. Fat women in tight clothing, yeah, of course, yeah. Thin women in baggy athleisure are celebrated for embracing the low key. But fat women in it are chided for being sloppy and frumpy. Yeah, it kind of depends. Kind of depends. Talking about implicit bias. You know, I mean, look, she seems happy. I mean, nobody's dogging her about that. And look, someone can say that's a cute outfit. I mean, that's, maybe a little wrinkly. She needs to use some of that spray. What is that? The man's iron wrinkle release, right? We're moving on. I'm done with that. Oh! Bit of good news. As we come on, we're marching forward toward this explanation. In fact, I think it's 2 away. What time is it? Oh, I got to rock. Okay, remember this chart that I talked about? The African American, what is it? The National Museum of African American History and Culture, when they put out those slides that were talking about whiteness being things like, caring about being on time, or not being lazy, or using critical thinking skills and quantitative analysis and stuff like that, science and math and all that. Well, apparently, and this is the amazing thing, look at this. According to RT, the chart, compiled by a white Jewish academic and corporate consultant, of course it was. That's what I'm saying. Critical race theory. This actually has a lot of clues, by the way. If you want to know where it came from, it's got a couple clues, a couple Easter eggs. It was displayed on the museum's Talking About Race webpage until the museum pulled it. Oh, look at that. Following a conservative outcry. Conservative people. Really? That's it? I'll take credit for it. We did. Claremont Institute President Ryan Williams described the chart as divisive propaganda. Described the chart, even the Washington Post, Mark Tyson said, or is it Thiessen? Whatever. Said that the document was, quite frankly, racist. Yes. Duh. But that's because critical race theory is racist. It's racist. For assuming that black people don't possess these characteristics. Yes. Yes. Oh. Well, bravo. We're going to skip over this. Look at this guy. Look at his pouty face. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. All I'll say is, yeah, recent Gallup poll shows that Americans are rejecting woke ball. This is over at Big League Politics. The favorability rating went from plus 20 to negative 10. Wow. The numbers dropped 46 points among Republicans. Okay. 36 points among independents. Only 5 points among Democrats. That's okay. Hardly any of them watch. That's like all the crazy liberals that were all excited about Doctor Who. Yay! It's a woman! They're going to change the whole canon of Doctor Who! Wah! And then they didn't watch it. They don't care. They just want to know that you're on our team. I see that. Virtue signal received. Wow. This is crazy. Oh, listen to this. That demographics matter dropped 24 points among men. 34 points among women. Dang, son. They are down 26 points among white Americans and 35 points among non-white Americans. It's okay. People have lost their minds. People have lost their minds. There's a piece over at the American Conservative. I'm going to skip through because I want to get this done about 13 minutes and spend the last half an hour just mainly on talking to you. Okay, so make sure to put your comment in there. And if you have to head out, look, if you've got to head out, my buddy's a doctor over at Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. Okay, he's awesome. He's an awesome dude. Go to church with him and stuff. And I told him, I can't really do much tonight. I'm doing something live, and he's like, "Oh man, 10 to midnight. I'm going to bed." So if you're one of those people, Gramps, if you're an old person and you can't stay up and watch the rest of this, but you would like for me to answer something, a question that you have, or just simply get recognition and see that your comment was on a video and you can share with your friends and go, "Dude, look, I'm right there. I'm right there. That's my name. That's my name. Rumpelstiltskin 734 Nibiru." That's me. So if you want to do that, make sure, and you got to go to bed, get some night sleeps. If you've got to do that, make sure to come back tomorrow to my YouTube channel or to any of the channels that you're watching this on. If it's Facebook, any of the pages you're watching it on, wherever, doesn't matter. Go back, check it out, skip ahead, get to where you had to leave off, finish it out. Crank it up for all your friends in the workforce. Okay, so all your fellow employees, they'll love it. They'll love everything I have to say. They'll agree with all of it, obviously. Okay. So Declan Leary talks about an article, "Why Did Police Shoot My Daddy?" It's a heading for an article. He says, now, there's an impartial heading, if I've ever seen one. No attempts at emotional manipulation to be found here. Well, of course. Nothing to see here, folks. Just good old-fashioned, hard fact reporting from the good people over at CNN. No, he's obviously joking. Calls it barely veiled propaganda. But I wanted to talk, these are obvious things. We can find, in fact, a number of very obvious things. Ways that we've been gaslighted. Ways that we have been gaslighted as a country. And specifically, if you are a white, cishet, add Christian to the mix, and oh boy, add Christian to the mix, and it don't matter what you are, you're in trouble. If you're not one of those that's got like the quadriplegic Eskimo priestess lady dancing around with the stole that's got, the rainbows and everything. But I saw a TikTok video. It's people like that, you just kind of want to punch right in the face. And just magically spiral out like an old video game or something. The most prominent example of this practice has become a bit of a meme in recent months. Mostly peaceful protests. Think about that. NBC Bay Area bent over backward to keep up the charade, publishing a report under the headline, "Group Breaks Off of Mostly Peaceful Protest, Vandalizes Police Station, Sets Courthouse on Fire." Wow, okay, I hear you. Okay. Oh, that's all that happened? Talks about this much mocked CNN chyron on the August 25th that read, "Fiery but mostly peaceful protests after police shooting." Above this already laughable contradiction, correspondent Omar, is it Omar Jimenez? Is it Jimenez or Jimenez? I don't even care. I don't watch I don't watch them. I gave up on it. Find me somebody good on there. I mean, I used to think SE Cup was not bad. Garbage. Broadcast in front of multiple burning cars, with more intense fires raging in the distance beyond the vehicles. They blame it on conspiracy thought. Anytime we criticize what they're doing, whether it's university, oh, are you saying that there's like prejudice against you? Yes. Oh, yeah. That's conspiracy theory. What, you think that the governors, the Democratic governors, do you think that they're doing this to try to pressure Trump? Yeah. Conspiracy. Yeah. All the time. There's an implication that runs deep, and it's never quite stated outright. But nonetheless, it informs nearly every piece of reporting about the chaos, and I would say reporting about almost everything we've talked about. Okay, you want to understand the world that we live in? You want to understand your enemy? You want to know? Here we go. The left-wing protesters are offering a vision of justice. Their cause is the right cause. What they're saying is true. Anything else is merely an opposing vision of America. It's the radicals' country, the chattering classes say. The rest of us are just living in it for now. Yeah. This is how they view us. Think of it this way. There's a report that quotes Cassie Miller of the Southern Poverty Law Center. Quote, the far right is now anointing themselves the only force standing between order and chaos. What do you think? What do you think, you dumb idiot, Cassie? Are you freaking blind? What is wrong? Southern Poverty Law Center, never mind. Okay. Yeah, you got a lot wrong with you. You got a lot wrong with you. Play-Doh rolling, bubble blowing. Bet you $100. A dangerous step toward normalizing the political violence that they already hold a monopoly on. Oh, really? I'll read this. It's an insane take, given the unbroken streak of left-wing political violence across America this summer. Not just this summer. Remember all of the violence happening at Trump rallies when people would come in and punch? Remember that? Remember the bird doggers? I know Cassie Miller knows what a bird dogger is. And if she doesn't, what is she doing? She's lying if she says she doesn't. If you say, well, I don't know the name of that designation, she should maybe study more before she talks about stuff. Provocateurs. If there's a monopoly to be found here, Miller is looking in the wrong direction. Yes. This is one of the things I want to talk about. Remember, I said at the beginning of the show that there was an event that I was part of. It was super big, trended on Twitter. I'm on video. You can see me in this shirt. You can see me. The news writes about it. Fakest news I've ever read in my life that pertained to me. I'm sure that Trump has dealt with, look, he's got special counsels. But insofar as my life is concerned, the fakest crap I've ever read in my life. Ever. And that was day one. Weeks go by. And when finally that narrative was shown to be completely, not a little bit wrong, completely wrong, verifiably wrong, when it was found out, well, guess what happened? The journalist, are you saying this? Yes, because you know what that means? That means that their analysis, like this goon, Cassie Miller, and by the way, funny enough, these journalists that were boo-hooing to the Kalamazoo police, what? Those same people, those same organizations cited the Southern Poverty Law Center in their first, second, third, fourth, every article that they've ever done about the event. If I had a blurry thing, I'd flip them off. If I had a way to blur it out. I want to grab them by the ears and puke in their face. But it's also representative of one of the media's most obnoxious and insidious habits. Present an opinion as a quote, and it becomes fact. It's not your opinion. I'm just telling you what the experts say. And that's where all this other stuff comes in. Academia. All the people involved in Hollywood. Experts. Remember, it was shown at Sundance. Same thing with all of the, whenever they talk about animals. They'd hate me. I'm on a carnivore diet. I'm eating lots of those meats, buddy. Environment. The experts. Coronavirus. We've seen that. It's a convenient coincidence that the insight of experts always bolsters the left-wing view. Ain't that weird? Ain't that a thing? What's the statistical probability of that? Right. Remember the early campaign to convince us the BLM protests had no bearing on COVID-19? That was the turning point for me. That was a major turning point for me. I said, scientifically, I care about science. I care about numbers, man. I care about being able to replicate something. Being able to falsify it. You know, and try to ask questions and stuff. I care about controls. And so when they get on TV and go, you know, we don't want, they were against the Michigan protests. We had protests here in Michigan where people got in a car. They were in their own cars driving and honking in the Capitol. Those people were Nazi racists who were super spreaders. But Black Lives Matter? No. They're all in a group, thousands. Apparently COVID is like this super smart thing that cares, has a conscience, and goes, you know, I would normally spread, but I'm going to take a knee. COVID took a knee for Black Lives Matter. What? That's how I knew. But time and time again, it's always the same. Oh, look at how it verifies my ideas. Some people believe it on the left. There are some who don't. And it comes down to this, and I'll introduce this, and we'll save it for if I'm gonna be on. Depending on my wife and those contractions, I haven't heard anything yet. Okay, so she might be upstairs doing some breathing techniques and stuff. If it got bad enough, she's coming down. You'll see my wife. My wife is gorgeous, man. Mega hot. I got a mega hot half Korean wife, man. I'm just saying. I'm kind of hooked up. But I may save a lot of this for the next time. It's another great article over at American Conservative, Lewis Andrews. And he's breaking it down. In fact, I will. I'll save this and give a teaser, I guess. Well, no, you know what? No. We're going. We're marching forward, okay? Now, if history has taught us anything, it's that anarchist and criminal mentalities lie dormant in every country, just waiting for the opportunity to take control of legitimate protests. In this case, peaceable demonstrations inspired by George Floyd's tragic death. What is far more distressing about the present chaos is the response of historically responsible liberals who now seem to condone not only street violence, but the aggressive cancellation of citizens with views well within the mainstream. Of course, they mention the ACLU, colleges and universities, newspapers like the New York Times, social media companies. They talk about Trump derangement syndrome and how this is, if we even have an explanation of it, most of it is just simply wrapped up in that. And it doesn't normally go deeper. This show does, because we read good stuff like this. Okay? And by Trump derangement syndrome, he sums that up by saying, with the election so close, the president's opponents will countenance anything that stokes dissatisfaction with his administration. Yes, that is true. And we know there's truth to this because there are people who recognize this, who are in positions of authority on the left. I mean, even longtime party activist Ted Van Dyke wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, had to go there probably. Democrats are presenting a pro-chaos caricature of themselves, which will discredit them with the public if they maintain it. But see, here's the thing. Where the Trump derangement syndrome hypothesis, right? The diagnosis, where that's not enough is simply that this goes deeper. In fact, it would have existed even if Trump didn't. And this is why. That the underlying rationale for any form of left-wing governance over the last 2 centuries has been the presumed ability of educated officials to use social science for the benefit of the larger society. Mentions Owenism, St. Simonianism, Soviet communism, bunch of isms. Check them out. America is no exception. Sometimes referred to collectively as the administrative state. These include K through 12. Remember, we just talked about this. That it used to be this time when you would say, universities. And then eventually it made its way to high schools. And then eventually, 7th and 8th grade. And now we're talking kindergarten. Health and welfare bureaucracies, departments of urban planning, environmental agencies, correctional facilities, trial lawyers, industrial unions, the military. Did you see Tucker? He's on fire, by the way. I love you. Are you seeing the people who've watched this stuff for a long time? How happy are you that every day you can go online now to your favorite websites and you may see the phrase critical race theory? If you watch Tucker, critical race theory. Breitbart, critical race theory. Paleocrat, long time. Long time. No matter what, even though these are outside the government, they're still seen as compatible with technocratic governance. He goes on. But as politically effective as assuming the mantle of social justice has been for American liberals, 3 recent developments now threaten to end its usefulness. And this is why it's important. We'll talk more about this another time. The first, the growing evidence that much of the research used by the administrative state over the years has been intentionally falsified by its academic authors, either to advance their own ideological biases or to please their government funders. It is well documented. Look at this. Well documented. Okay. Political diversity will improve social psychological science. Look at this. Arizona State University, College of New Jersey, Stockholm, Rutgers, University of Pennsylvania. Corresponding author. Oh, I didn't even notice this. Jonathan Haidt. I told you. I said one of the greatest books of the 20th of the modern era on political science and culture, political economy and culture, political science, psychology for that matter, sociology, all of it. It's an all-in-one. It's amazing. Jonathan Haidt. You have to go and familiarize yourself with moral foundations theory. You absolutely must. His book, Righteous Mind, is an absolute must. Kicking tail. It's been well documented since the mid-90s that any academic study that contradicts left-wing beliefs has an especially difficult time getting peer-reviewed endorsement. Totally true. Talks about 2005, Dr. John Ioannidis, co-director of Stanford University's Meta Research Innovation Center, went even further. In a now famous report, he showed that even the social science research that does get published is not nearly as rigorous as it has been made to appear. Much of what has been taught for decades as quote-unquote settled science is, as he showed, the product of unreliable statistical testing. Yeah. Since the paper, it's even clearer now that the most influential experiments in sociology, political science, social psychology, economics, climate science, anthropology, education, and medicine cannot meet the first requirement of science. Think about that. And what is that? Replication of results upon retesting. It cannot be duplicated. And here's one, and this was brought up recently, pertaining to critical race theory and the stuff that is being required of kids in school, in university, contractors with the government, the military. Implicit association test, which claims to predict racial and ethnic discrimination. Implicit bias, man. Where they're like, you take that implicit bias test? I loved it when, what was it, The Amazing Atheist? That guy? Everybody's calling him a racist. He ends up taking the test. It gets worse. In 2015, Science tried to replicate the findings of 100 article Science peer-reviewed paper publication. Big time. Tried to do it with 100 articles in 3 prominent psychological journals during 2008, and they got significant results for only 36, compared to the idea that 97 of them said they had significant results. Same thing's true with finance and economics discussion series of the Federal Reserve. A study that was done by them could not reproduce the outcomes of a majority of prominent economic articles. Ioannidis himself now believes that up to half of the discoveries ever published, think about this, man. Sit back. Get in that cross-legged position. Half the discoveries ever published in peer-reviewed social science and medical journals are probably wrong, which is an opinion he shares with The Lancet's, another major-time journal, respected editor-in-chief, Richard Charles Horton. Peter Wood, National Association of Scholars, I believe that's the Peter Wood who did the book Diversity. If you want to know about that book, it's huge. It's in my top shelf recommendations. Okay, I actually did I think it's called Diversity: the Invention of a Concept. I did a review on a portion of that. You can find that youtube.com/Paleocrat. Subscribe today. He argues that many of the regulations, laws, and social programs routinely passed by Congress on the basis of supposedly solid research have no scientific justification. The second development that undermines people's faith in technocratic governance is because their own experience of it. Kind of like with Black Lives Matter and COVID. We experience this and we go, dude, come on. The LGBT crap constantly, the barrage of it. Perspectives. All the same. The oops, it was an algorithmic mistake that we banned or that we blocked and shadow banned all of these people who coincidentally all have the same world and life view and political affiliation. We don't believe it anymore. What's the news now? People are mad because Donald Trump talked to Woodward, which, by the way, total setup, by the way. Why even talk to Lindsey Graham? Why even talk to that loser? He's a deep state loser goon. If you want to know how bad he is, he was with Tokyo Rose McCain over in the Ukraine. You should go and check it out. There's a video where McCain is kind of talking like he's the president of the United States. Promising Ukraine, talking with their military. And who's by his side? His butt buddy. His butt buddy, Lindsey Graham. But we see it. They say that, that Donald Trump hates the troops. They say that he hates the troops. Right? They're bringing up the Bob Woodward thing, and this is even bigger. Not just that he hates the troops, but the Bob Woodward thing, to say that he downplayed coronavirus. Yes. Tim Flanders, Meaning of Catholic. If I hope somebody shares this with you, okay? And somebody, if you're listening right now and you follow Timothy Flanders at Meaning of Catholic on Twitter or YouTube, go in there and comment, share this, because there was a video that I did with him. We've done a couple, but where I specifically talked about the difference between how an authoritarian regime like China and a republic like the United States, how they would deal with crises of this nature. And I said, I'm not too angry when the government initially is saying things that I know are not true. I know they're not true. Like when they say things like, masks don't work at all, right? They kind of treat it like for anything, but yet they were really wanting those masks for their own people. They were saying, don't go out and buy them because we need to have them. They don't work at all. Well, if they don't work at all, then what are your people wearing them for? Or what's the reason you are wearing them? For other things, maybe. But the way that it was described, that it wasn't going to be too bad. You saw people on the Democrat left and the Republican right. They were both doing this. And it's because in a republic, that's how it works. I told my wife, I said, look, they know that there's, with the information that people get, they can't control that. So people are going to see the crazy, creepy stuff coming out of China. They're going to see all that and they're going to freak out. They're going to start going and buying. I knew this stuff back in January. All these yahoos sitting there, he didn't say anything until this time. Nobody did, man. I was watching as everybody's doing stupid junk. I was getting ready. I knew about it. I follow good sources. And if you follow this show, you do too. You won't be taken off guard. Okay? You're not led astray. But the thing is I said, in a republic, you have to convince people. You can't just go, okay, everybody, it's coming. We're all going to die. You can't do that. Everybody will freak. So they already know that a large segment of the population is going to freak. And that even if they're reassuring and say that we've got everything under control, knowing that they don't, that at least it's going to help other people to calm down a little bit. And slowly, as they learn more, and as this thing's happening, and as people are increasingly getting scared, and more, even if they're not super scared, are recognizing that the shelves are running out of food and toilet paper, which is going to make them wonder what's going on. As that happens, and I told my wife this, I said, you are going to hear a phrase, social distancing. You're going to hear that. And I said, and when you do, it'll be during one of these press conferences, and they're going to use that phrase as if they've been saying that from the beginning. But it's going to be loaded with something new. And lo and behold, Dr. Fauci, the worst pitcher that's ever pitched an opening pitch at a baseball game, okay? Mr. Magoo, that guy gets on and says, as I've been saying from the beginning, you do social distancing. 6 feet apart. No, you didn't say that from the beginning. Incremental. Little bit at a time, because then as people are tuning in, it's easier for someone to think, because of an authority bias, it's easier for them to think maybe they missed it than it is to say, you're lying, I remember all that. They'll roll with it. They follow. It's orderly. And it doesn't require dudes busting in your door with guns like they do in China, dragging you out, and putting you in a concentration camp. We're in prison. But we see this. So people experience this and they don't believe it. Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad ones. Follow this show and you'll know how to do you'll know how to say the difference. Public education. People don't believe in it anymore. The latest annual poll by Harvard's Education Next magazine, 75% of respondents graded the performance of the nation's schools with a C or less. Yeah. They're seeing how we're running out of money. It's affecting us. Everybody, nobody's going to be spared from this. And we're going to end on this. What does the modern liberal do when the old appeal to credentialed expertise is no longer enough to protect his or her job from being restructured or downsized or made more accountable, subject to greater competition, or even abolished? They do what privileged bureaucrats have always done when the rationale for their status no longer holds sway. And this is it. They find a purpose whose ideology combines right thinking with a puritanical intolerance of criticism of that thinking. The example, of course, that liberals would gravitate to wokeness then would hardly be a surprise. With its unrelenting racial interpretation of every social encounter, and that's true. It preserves the left's claim to represent all minority and disadvantaged groups while simultaneously inventing endless reasons for institutional remedy. Once more, any criticism is easily dismissed, and we all know this is true, as the result of the critic's own unconscious privilege. Well, you must be a racist because you disagree with me. Screw you, man. Screw you. Racist piece of garbage. Illogical. Unable to debate. Unwilling because you're unable. Because you can't handle it. You can't win. Bring it on. You'll lose. On your own standards. Pull the rug right out from under you because your worldview sucks. It's the same way that psychoanalysts used to deflect any challenge to their professional opinion as a psychological resistance. Yeah. This is the final thing. I always have it in green, by the way. First one's in green. This is a hint. First part of a story's in green. Last part of a story's in green. That way I know when it's over. There's no better glimpse into the future than what happened last February when the Oakland, California-based Independent Institute decided to sponsor a conference on improving the accuracy of social science research. Not only were the organizers labeled everything from misogynistic white supremacists to climate change deniers, but 2 graduate students set to speak at the gathering were forced to withdraw after threats of career sabotage. Even the event's most common sense recommendations. Think about this. Think about this. To do more replication studies. Fascist! White supremacist! What? To prioritize grants to researchers who pre-register their protocols. Oh, wow, that's kind of neat. Like, your protocols are pre-registered, so we know like what's up with you. And to require experimenters to make their data and research protocols publicly available. Oh, fascist! Nazi! How dare you say that my protocols should be available before you give me money? Yeah, man. These were viciously attacked. Because that's where we are. Because that is where we are. And look at this. Look at this. Okay. Lawrence Gonzaga, nice. Thank you, by the way, for all the amens. I appreciate that. I can go to bed with fantastic affirmations. Look at this. God, Jesus, Lord, love to you. Look at this, man. Nate Hammett. Look at all these faces. There's got to be a story in here. Even a banana. Look at that. They're like, peach, banana, grape, eggplant. Look, you threw eggplant in there. Look at that. I can't eat any of those right now, man. Making me all hungry. Making me all hungry. But I appreciate it, Nate. Very, very, very much. Look at this. Look at this person. Look at that. Prayers for your wife and baby, Amanda Downing. Amanda, I appreciate it big time. And yes, that movie is sick. You're talking, of course, about cuties. I mean, it's gross. The stuff that you guys saw, I apologize, of course. But I mean, there's scenes where it's bent over, legs in between the thighs, curled up near, you know. Zooming in real close. Yep, let's do that again. They should go to jail. How is that not kiddie porn? People should go to jail for that. It's disseminating. These people are pedos, man, big time. So, again, thank you, Amanda Downing. Karen Edward. Oh. Yeah. Thank you for watching, by the way. Edward. If film critics defending this film get the wall, I might have to rethink my criticism of revolutionary socialists. Brennan Smith. Hey, people. Yeah, what's going on, Brennan? Wow, that's creepy. That's an understatement. Pancho Villa. This man is not a Christian. Who are you talking to, Pancho? Is that me? Are you that weirdo? Are you that weirdo that comes in? Let's see. You probably, most Catholics are not. The mystical experience is not mystical to those who have the Holy Spirit. Yeah. Okay. But when you don't, or you have an unholy spirit, yeah. You need to preach the gospel. The heart can only be changed by God. Yeah, I don't know what you're... Yes, you do. People do. I don't know if you disagree with me. You sound like... You sound like you do. And I gathered it from last time. Maybe, but, it's kind of one of these things. Like, I always wonder, if somebody's, like, against somebody, and every time they're like, this guy's not a Christian. What kind of weird life and existence is that person now? I'm glad they're watching. That's not enough. They must be born again, spirit-filled. Yes. Yeah. In the font of baptism. I don't know if you believe in the glossolalia stuff. Bow tie with my Hyundai. I don't know where you're going with that. You an Azusa Streeter, Pancho? Are you an Azusa Streeter? Only God can save. Yes, duh. Yeah. Look at Maritza, man. She's got one of those things. What is that? Oh, yeah, Petgrave. Look at that, watching it work. Thank you, man. Thank you for the follow, by the way. I appreciate that. When you're watching it work, make it subtle. Don't tick everybody off, but just very subtly. I mean, if they hear something about you, like, yeah, this, Black Lives Matter sucks. And they're like, whoa, what's that? Or, yeah, that hyper obese lady wearing that is not as attractive as that other proportionally, fit person. You're talking about myth and legend, Aphrodite-styled bodies, shapes, and sizes. They hear that, it might pique their interest. Maybe they'll want to hear more. Love it or hate it. Love it or hate it, man. They can't get enough of me. I got people who hate my guts, and they can't help it. They're like, dude, he's on. I gotta listen right now. You're a sick person. I love you. Keep watching. Tell all your friends how much you hate it. Dude, you gotta see this guy. You gotta hear the stuff he says. It's so terrible and wrong. You gotta tell him. Tell everybody. I mean, everybody. Share it, blast it out. Mass email. All my links. Tell them to get me from every direction. Lawrence, I'm watching so that when you go huge, you take me along with your fame. Dude, you have been with me, Lawrence, from the beginning. I gotta say this. I actually have to thank Lawrence for this. Lawrence, I've known that guy, Lawrence Gonzaga, okay? If you don't know him, he's the kind of guy you want to know. You want to have a Lawrence Gonzaga in your life. And if you don't, I'm sorry for you. Because I've gone through hell and back. I've gone through crazy things in my life. And I'll talk about more and more and more. I mean, I'm an open book. It's all there. Okay? But he's been there. He's been there from back in Zanga days, right? It's like, what is that, before MySpace? He stuck with me. He stuck with me when I fell away from God. A lot of people didn't. He did. He was my friend. He cared about me. I'm grateful for Lawrence. And I pray that you have a Lawrence in your life. Curious, how do you choose the articles you read about for the show? Well, I go to a bunch of different, I follow different accounts. I like Telegram, for example. And so I'll get a lot of articles through there that kind of get me even just opening up new places, new websites and stuff like that. But I also, just through the years, having assembled kind of a journalistic toolbox to have a lot of sources that I say this is a pretty reputable place that I generally can find things that are not only relevant in time, but kind of even from perspectives that even if I don't agree, it's enough that I can kind of bounce off it and do my own thing. Charlie, that jacket showed how she really doesn't care. And it was no error in judgment that she wrote it, going to the southern border where these hateful people are holding human beings in cages and separating families. Children have died for reasons they never should have. They don't care. You're worrying about fat and skinny when there is a much bigger... Is this a joke? Is this a joke? There's a much bigger and more important meaning to the outfit and what's inside that empty shell who's married for benefit. There's no love there. Okay. Not entirely sure what that's about. Was there a specific outfit that I was missing the meaning to it? And by the way, so what? So what, man? You can have something that has a really great meaning on it. That doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, I don't mean to be on Charlie Nestor's bad side or anything. I don't know. That is the one negative thing about this. You read this and you kind of don't know. Is the don't care? Was that the jacket worn by Melania? I loved that jacket, by the way. If that's what you're talking about. Some of this stuff, people, if you want for me to talk about it, give me some context, man. You're like throwing stuff out there, totally rando. How am I supposed to know? Another equals born from above, not born again. Okay, you're a good guy, Michael. Yeah, Michael Getz. Look at that. Great title. So when is the crusade starting? Well, it depends. It's starting right now. Right now. You have people leading the charge right now. And this show's a little bit different. Okay? This show is saying it's not enough to simply have the right idea. And it's not enough to simply say, well, I have an idea and I'm going to go online and I'm going to go against the bad guys. No. You need to have stuff that's got roots, that goes deep. You need to be with others of like mind and like heart. This show here is more than a telephone pole with a megaphone at the top. I don't want people gathered around this as a megaphone. Look, I'm glad everybody's listening. But if you aren't challenging yourself to say, what can I do? This is what I can do, by the way. I went to school for this stuff. I have my degree in it. I've spent years of study, years of oratory, right? Practice, skills, editing, networking, planning, leading, lobbying. I've done it. And I'm encouraging others. I'm saying, look, you go out and you do something. You know what? I don't care if you went out and you started your own channel and said, I was inspired by Paleocrat to start my own channel. Jeremiah Bannister rocked my face off every single Monday and Thursday and Saturday from 10 to midnight, just pounding at my chest and my heart, saying, wake up! Wake up, man and woman of God. Wake up, patriot. Wake up! Your world is on fire. Your civilization is burning down. Your heroes are being denigrated. People are trampling over the bodies, the relics of the democracy of the dead. What are you doing? Get out of bed. Wake up. And give it everything you've got, because you don't know when it's over for you. I don't either. I could walk upstairs and slip on a banana peel. Whoa! Dead, splat. Do it with might and strength, with prayer. Fight like hell. Elites are diverting attention. This is Lee Jennifer Corlew Ayers. Elites are diverting attention. They kept children in cages for their super soldier program. If you got information about that, go ahead and send it to me. Were they giving them meth? What were they doing? Yeah. Mind control? I mean, you're going to hear mind control here in a minute. Lawrence, you're a master of your craft, brother. Be the best way you do. See, look at this, man. Right. Flattery is my favorite brew, man. You can pour that thick and strong out. Drink it. We need to tell everyone there's no salvation outside the church. Adam Heikela, dude, yes. You started your own thing. You did, man. And yours is cool. Look, if you guys don't know who Adam Heikela is, you got, and dude, thank you for the compliment, by the way. That actually means a lot, man. I think you're a cool guy. Adam Heikela, Heiklia. You got to check him out. The guy's hardcore, man. He's super manly. He doesn't care. He's like, Ram Man from He-Man. Just, blah, but smart. Right? Ram Man wasn't the brightest in the world. Right? Adam's a smart guy. And he's just crushing it, man. Day in and day out, crushing it. Crushing it. So don't you quit, bro. You keep rocking. Keep rocking that video, dude. Keep tagging me, too. Okay? We'll get together. Yeah, mind control. Okay. I can't get out to do much beyond my small handicap walls. I'm glad you brought this up, Teresa. Okay? I'll answer this. But I pray for our church, our world, our Pope, President, all the leaders, my family. But prayer is the best I have and can do. If that is an honest assessment of yourself, then that is no less than me saying an honest assessment of myself is to kick the living daylights out of lefties and modernists and crazy commies every day on this microphone. And pressing myself to do more. And asking myself, can I, even a little bit? When I was in the military, it was like, can you get, crawling on the ground, can you get even another inch? Can you push another second? Can you do even half of another push-up? Your arms and your body is shaking and trembling like mad. I did push-ups in my own vomit. Beat downs late at night. I was a doughboy, but I asked for it. I sincerely, I actually did. Yeah. I was like, look, you gotta crush me. And they did every day. And every day I pushed a little bit harder, a little bit. Try it and get a little further. But if you've actually gotten to that place where you say, look, I'm trying every single day, and don't give up on yourself. Never. And if you want any inspiration and motivation, okay? If you want any inspiration and motivation, right, on anything you do, even just sticking with what you're doing now, no criticisms at all of you. Zero. Okay. In fact, I ask, please keep my family in prayer too, and the show, and all those other people and groups like you're already doing, including the Pope and our president that's marching forward the cause of Christ. Okay. But if you want some days where you're like, I just want a little bit more motivation, what can I do to defy odds, or maybe even things I've placed on myself or other people are placing on me, or the devil's trying to get to me? Go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Paleocrat, and go to the playlist for Team Tiny Dancer. That is my daughter. She changed my life and tons of people's lives. And it was all about this. It was a mantra. And it was never give up and keep on smiling. And she did it with brain cancer, a kind that took her life after 16 months. But she transformed people's lives because she was awesome. And I'm not going to cry, so I'm not going to go any further because I'll cry. I love her. And I love that she can continue to touch people's lives. I hope she can touch all of yours, okay? And yes, you can shoot down lies. Anything you've got. Anything you've got, Lee, Jennifer, Ayers, anything. Okay? If that is what you can do. You know, it's kind of like when you're saying that you post online a lot. If that's what you're able to do, and that's an honest assessment, man, the person who criticizes that, backhand him for me. See, Paleocrat says you're wrong. I'm serious. Take him down. You know, it would be like the person, if somebody's handicapped, right? Somebody's disabled and they're back in the old days. If all they're able to do is to lay there on the side of the road and they see some terrible authoritarian, totalitarian weirdo, Marxist in a time machine, they went back in time and all they could do is take a slingshot or something. Do it. That's a hero in my book. I mean it. A neurodegenerative disease. I know what you're talking about. Yes. I wish the best for you, and I thank God for people like you. Okay? Don't ever, never, ever, never allow anyone. You know, you're going to hear, if you're following people like me, you're going to hear people challenging, especially when times get tough, to say push, do more. But if you're in that place where you simply know where you are and you are doing the best you can with what you've got, like I knew a guy, he had muscle dystrophy, and he played guitar, and it was hard for him to stand, so he would eventually bring a chair, and then eventually it was hard to stand at all, so he would only sit in the chair. No more strap. And eventually it had to get lighter guitars. The idea of busting that guy's chops and saying, why don't you carry that heavier guitar? And when he finally wasn't able to even play anymore because his muscles and coordination couldn't play anymore, everybody would just cherish what he's done. And even if all he could do was from that point on just simply talk to other people about how to make music that changes lives, whatever he could do. Amazing guy. All right. Well, I thank all of you. I thank all of you for being here. It's been an amazing show. Let's get up that split screen graphic. We're coming down to the end. Make sure to subscribe, paleocratdiaries.com. Be here every single Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, unless, of course, my wife has a baby. And if that's the case, what I'll try to do is I'll try to do some kind of an event. I won't do it if she's in labor, right? But I'll try to do something, even if it's from a phone, and it won't be as dynamic, right? But it'll be fun, maybe even out and about and stuff, but still communicating, letting you guys know, showing a picture maybe of the baby, if it happens. Right? It's going to, right? But depending on which day, and if I'm able to get back to this microphone and my wife's okay, and stuff like that. But keep us in prayer every Monday, Thursday, Saturday night, 10 to midnight or thereabout, give or take. For more, any questions, interviews, speeches, any inquiries that you've got, email me. I would love, even just stories, share stories with me, man. I'd love to connect with everybody. It'd be really great. Paleocrat Diaries at gmail.com. And check out my work, of course, Paleo Cheese Podcast. That's cheese with a Z. And we have it now. We reached the 100. Super dope. We got a little trophy from Facebook or from YouTube. They gave us a little accomplishment trophy. And Meaning of Catholic. After the delivery of the child, I'll be doing something with them. I need to reach out. I'm going to reach out to a number of people about doing interviews. Some big name folks. You definitely want to do that. If you want to see me interview somebody, make sure to reach out to me. Again, Paleocrat Diaries at gmail.com. I appreciate everything. It's been a great time. Make sure to come back. I'll be back in a few days, and we're going to have another great episode of Paleocrat Diaries for you. Until the next time, pray for me. Pray long and hard for yourselves and our country. And Memento Mori.
If I don't talk into microphones, I don't make that mad cash. Making all that money. Making that mad loot, right?
Mind control.
So we see the minority elite imposing their ideology on an unwilling and resentful populace. This causes a backlash. People get ticked off. The left is working long and hard to make us feel as if we've done something wrong. Worse yet, that we are the problem. Don't let people just rip on your heritage. Don't let people just rip on your traditions. Don't let people rip on your heroes. Stand up for what you believe, what made you who you are. So unless this disenfranchised majority begins standing up for what they believe in their heart of hearts to be true, I think we'd be left with nothing more than a dirge and maybe a funeral procession.